What's going on, knuckleheads? Welcome to another episode of the Fighters Rep podcast. Of course, I'm your host, the Fighters Rep, Fez. I wanted to talk about the 10 hottest prospects heading into Fighters Rep 17. As you guys know, it goes down on February 18th. And it's a card that I want to say is probably the best card we've ever had, right? It's the best card we've ever had because it's absolutely stacked with nothing but the hottest prospects and the best fighters in their respective divisions. But this particular video, right? And of course, you get your tickets at FightersRep.com or watch the stream by joining the channel. But this particular video, I want to just limit it to prospects, right? Guys on the come up at Fighters Rep. And specifically, when we're talking about prospects heading into Fighters Rep 17, there's a lot of people that may be left out of this because I'm talking about fighters that have fought for us at the last show or recently that have a lot of momentum coming into this show and fighters that are most likely to compete on this show. So even though I feel like guys, for example, like D'Angelo Gianni, right? Probably one of the best 135-pound prospects out there right now. I'm not going to mention him in this list because he's not going to be competing at Fighters Rep 17. So I'm kind of limiting it, just so you guys know, mostly to guys, I think exclusively rather, to guys that are going to be competing at the next card and guys that got a lot of momentum. That being said, let's get right into it, right? The main event of the evening, and this is not in any particular order, but the main event of the evening features Evan Bolton. Guys, Evan Bolton, even though he's a pro now, this is going to be, I think, his third or fourth fight as a pro. Even though he's a pro and he's already got a little bit of experience as a pro, he's still young in his pro career, so he's still a prospect, right? He's still a prospect as far as the pro game is considered. An absolute beast at 147 pounds. He won Fighters Rep amateur titles and IKF titles in multiple divisions before becoming a pro. And so I am absolutely stoked not only to have him as the main event on the card, and he's representing hard for Hardworks Fitness and his city, Long Beach, but despite the fact that, he's probably one of the hottest prospects, he's also probably one of the best fighters at 147 pounds in the pro striking game. And I want to say this, even though he hasn't fought for us before, so I don't want to throw him into this prospect talk. As you know, you had to have fought for us before at least once for us to consider you a hot prospect. I think his opponent, Jordan Weiland, is a very hot prospect himself, right? A guy who's beaten some of the biggest names, a guy who's fought some of the best guys as an amateur, also a sort of new guy in the pro game. But I think it's an excellent fight. That's why we made it the main event. I think these are two of the best 147-pounders in the world. But my first prospect, again, number one, I want to mention, not in any particular order, but the first one, Evan Bolton. I got to say Evan Bolton. Next, I want to, shift gears over to the amateurs because we got a lot of hot prospects in the amateurs. And the one I want to mention, again, not in any particular order, is Huntington Beach Fight Club's very own Ian Holloway. Listen, this kid is now 3-0, right, at Fighters Rep in the Lion's Den. And it means something to be undefeated in the Lion's Den. If you guys know me and you know the culture of this promotion, I don't care whether guys win or lose, right? But if you go into the Lion's Den and you win consistently, there's something to be said for that because I don't match these guys up easily. Every single fight at Fighters Rep, and you'll see that on this next card, is as close to a 50-50 fight, 50-50 fight rather, as humanly possible. And I think Ian Holloway, right? Ian Holloway's become one of these kids where, he shows up, he fights his heart out, he finds a way to win, right? And what I love about him is he's not only improving every time out, and for this upcoming event, he's graduating to no headgear and no shin guard, so I'm very excited to see him here. But not only is he, improving with every event, he's marketing himself and, he adapts, right? That's the sign of a really good fighter, right? The sign of a really good fighter, a really great fighter is a guy that adapts. Ian Holloway, in his first fight, for example, perhaps the guy was a little bit more technically sound than him. He found a way to win by roughing the guy up. In his next fight, the guy's a bit more of a roughhouser. He finds a way to out-technique the guy. I mean, he just finds a way to win. If you're better than him at one thing, he's going to take your strength away. He's going to use it against you. And he finds a way to win. He's exciting. He talks the talk. He walks the walk, but he doesn't talk too much to the point where he puts you off. He's just right. And you can see how dedicated and hungry he is every time he goes out there. He's very critical. So, I just think this is a kid, a Huntington Beach bad boy that you guys want to come out and watch. And that's Ian Holloway. That's my number 2 that I'm talking about tonight. Shout out to him. Number 3, we got to go with the Gator, man. Jason Gator Granado. This kid is another kid just like Ian Holloway, right? And they're turning into these hot prospects doing something very simple, right? And that's coming back consistently, taking on tough fights and putting on great performances. And that's exactly what Jason Granado has done. I mean, he's now 4-0 at FightersRep. 3 of the fights ended in a first-round knockout. 1 of them ended in a second-round knockout. And the kid is just absolutely on the tear. I think he fights tonight for another promotion. But, the point is 4 fights with FightersRep, 4 wins, 4 knockouts. He brings the crowd. He brings the entertainment. He brings the drama, right? He brings the drama. I mean, this guy, every time he's in there, your heart's beating out of your chest. He's jumping out the ring. People are getting knocked out. He's coming back from the dead like The Undertaker and winning the fight. He's dropping people with leg kicks. He's knocking people out with a ridiculously long cross that he's got. And so, the guy's just pure action. What else do you want to hear about it? The guy is just pure, unadulterated, distilled action. And, I would say I don't think there's a more action-packed, entertaining fighter than Jason Granado, really, when we talk about knockouts and things like that. I mean, he's got to be there at the top. He comes out with the big cowboy hat. He came out with the bandana and his beef, with Isaiah Jackson. I mean, the kid's just a showman. So shout out to Jason the Gator Granado, number 3 out of 10 of the hottest prospects you guys need to watch out for. And be sure to get your tickets at FightersRep.com and subscribe to this channel. Number 4, interestingly enough, is Edgar Zaragoza, who's the kid that's going to be taking on Jason Granado at FightersRep 17 on February 18. This kid is another kid that was completely built at FightersRep. He's had 4 fights with us. He won 3 in a row, all action-packed, all blood and guts. The 4th one he lost, but his opponent didn't make weight. And it's a very talented opponent in Hamza Trad, one of the best fighters at 147 pounds, I would say. But Edgar's a 142-pounder. Hamza didn't make the weight, and so I don't really hold that loss against him much. He put up a great fight and went to a decision. And I think that this fight between Jason Granado and Edgar Zaragoza, listen, all of these fights are going to be absolutely insane, right? All of these fights that I've mentioned between these fighters, but this one is insane. It's 2 of the hottest prospects in the game taking on each other. Edgar Zaragoza out of Brood 9, Jason Granado out of Squirrel Muay Thai. You're not going to want to close your eyes for a split second. You're not going to want to blink. Don't get up and get any popcorn. Don't get a drink. This fight is going to be a Rocky fight, like something straight out of a movie. Remember, I said that. Also, I forgot to add this to Ian Holloway. He's taking on Trevor Blakesley, who's another kid that could easily be on this list. Now, he's coming off of a loss, so, I don't want to rush and put him on this list, but he's definitely a guy who, if he beats Ian Holloway, which he's capable of doing on February 18th, takes a lot of momentum into the next FightersRep. And so definitely look out for Trevor Blakesley as well. So Edgar Zaragoza was my 4th. We're keeping track. Number 5, we got to go with the super middleweight champion at FightersRep, Joshua the Crook Caldwell. I mean, Look at the guy. Listen, I know he didn't fight at the last Fighters Rep. He came as a coach. He took a little break, but that's okay because he had fought like 3 or 4 fights with us in a row. Didn't lose any of them. Became the super middleweight champion, beating some of the toughest guys in the world, man. I mean, this guy beat David Rivera in a hell of a fight. He beat Christian Zoller by stoppage. He beat Cameron Spencer, and now he's going to be taking on a Giovanni LaRue, a guy who's also very talented, but has never competed for Fighters Rep before. But I hear the kid is talented, and I think this is going to be a fantastic fight. And we can't wait to watch Joshua the Crook Caldwell, who looks the part, acts the part, fights the part of one of the hottest prospects in Fighters Rep, even though he's already a champion. I'm calling him a prospect because he's still an amateur. But you definitely want to watch Joshua Caldwell fight, and he's my number 5. Number 6, I got to go with the other champ on the card, the middleweight champ, David Mr. Sinister Rivera. I mean, this kid has been with Fighters Rep pretty much since the outset of his career in 2017. And what more can I say about this kid? I mean, an absolute stud, an absolute killer in the ring, super smooth. His personality, the way he fights, it all comes together, and it's all come together for him to become the middleweight champion of the world at Fighters Rep. This kid is just supremely talented. He's a good talker in his own way. He's exciting to watch. He's never in a boring fight, and he gets a lot of finishes. He won the middleweight title at Fighters Rep by finishing another very talented kid who's not going to be competing at the next Fighters Rep, and Michael Claycomb. He got the win over him. Before that, he beat Hunter Hackett, also via finish. So David Rivera is a guy you want to watch out for at Fighters Rep 17. And listen, he's not only one of the hottest prospects, but he's taken on another guy that can be considered as a very hot prospect in Christian Zoller, who, even though he came up a little bit short against Joshua Caldwell in his bid for the Fighters Rep super middleweight title, went to another promotion, has won a title over there, and now is coming back. And Zoller is always game, always improving drastically. And from what I hear from his coach, Lamont Spicuri, shout out to Team Vital Force, I'm hearing Christian Zoller is a new fighter since his loss to Joshua Caldwell. That's music to my ears. That's why I match these guys up so close, give them such hard fights. We want them to get better, and it looks like Christian Zoller has done just that. And so I think everybody's in for a treat when David Rivera takes on Christian Zoller come Fighters Rep 17 on February 18th. Next in line is an absolute monster in the 185-pound division. He came up short against a great Raymond Martinez at Fighters Rep 15. But listen, this guy ain't no joke, and this guy's one of the best 185-pounders in the country. Easy. It's none other than Cameron Spencer out of Hard Works Fitness in Long Beach. You are not going to want to miss this boy at all. He is an absolute unit. The kid moves, lightning speed. He's strong. He's a looker. He doesn't talk much. He lets his fists do the talking for him. But man, can those fists talk, and can those feet talk, and those knees especially. He's not a guy you're going to want to miss. Listen, anything coming out of Hard Works Fitness in Long Beach is quality. Now, he's going to be taking on Angel Becerra, a kid we haven't worked with before, but a very tough kid out of Team Quest and Hemet. And so it's a fight we're very excited about. But, Cameron Spencer is a guy who, if Raymond Martinez is not back by the next Fighters Rep, I could see Cameron Spencer fighting for an interim title or a title. And I hope Raymond Martinez comes back, because that's a fight that everybody wants to see, the rematch too. But, Cameron Spencer, definitely one of the biggest prospects, one of the hottest prospects at Fighters Rep. And so we had Evan Bolton, Ian Holloway, Jason Granado, Edgar Zaragoza, Joshua Caldwell, David Rivera, Cameron Spencer. Number 8, our super heavyweight champion, Amal Rasuli. He's fought for us in the past. And this guy is just on an absolute tear. Probably one of the best heavyweights in the country and in the world when we're talking about amateurs. And he's going to be taking on another heavyweight who's also in that league, but we haven't worked with him before, but he's also out of Hard Works Fitness, in Sam Fournier. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with this fight. Again, you're talking about two of the best amateur heavyweights in the country and in the world taking on each other at Fighters Rep 17 on February 18th. Do not blink. One shot and it's over from either one of these guys. We all saw what Amal Rassouli did with Edgar Barbary in a fantastic performance. He got to finish in the 4th round and captured that Fighters Rep super heavyweight title. But now he's fighting down at heavyweight. Dropped from super heavyweight to heavyweight to try to become a 2-division champion at Fighters Rep. And he's got a big old 6'7" Hard Works Fitness representing Sam Fournier in his way. So I look forward to that fight. Number 9 on my list, I gotta go with this kid. I don't know what it is about this kid. Well, actually, I do know what it is about this kid. He's got the height. He's got the speed. He's got the power. He's got the skills. He looked the part at that last Fighters Rep. And I'm talking about Anders Borg, a really young boy, a really young man, right, out of Chris Manzo's Engaged Combat. Listen, this kid just looked impressive, nearly knocking his opponent out of the ring at that last event. Mind you, it was a great fight, very good showing by Wesley Harold. But Anders Borg, man, showed a lot of maturity, showed a lot of skill in that fight, showed a lot of heart. I mean, he was being attacked aggressively the entire fight by a very, very aggressive and pressing Wesley Harold. And he was able to handle that pressure and, almost knocked the guy out the ring. I mean, it was really spectacular, that performance from Anders Borg. So I really look forward to him, man. I really think, especially in these higher divisions, 175, 185 pounds, they're always a bit slimmer than the lower divisions. And this kid can really make his mark on the sport if he keeps doing what he's doing. I look forward to watching Anders Borg. Shout out to Chris Manzo and his team. Finally, number 10, again, this was a very hard list to whittle down to 10 because there's just so much talent. There's just so much talent on this card. But number 10, I got to go with Khosrav Sadarov, you guys. I mean, the Azerbaijani assassin. I call him Sultan Sadarov. This kid, again, also started his career at Fighters Rep, and the way he's advanced and looked since he started with us has just been absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the kid has leveled up 10, 20 times since we first saw him. Not that he was bad when he started. He was already good. He was already talented, but he's just improved so much, especially under the tutelage of Crew Rod McKeever. I mean, this kid looks just absolutely spectacular. In his last fight against Ahmed Zidane, he got the finish at Fighters Rep, and he just looked unstoppable, and you could tell he was holding back a little bit. Turned out he had injured his foot. He wasn't really kicking too much, but man, his boxing alone was just so quality. I mean, he's just so fast. He's so athletic. He's got such great footwork. He's so coordinated. This is a former soccer player, by the way. I mean, the kid's just an incredible athlete and martial artist, and he's just got the mind of a killer. He's got violence tattooed on his chest. He's just a regular tough guy, and you want to see this kid in action, man. So these are my top 10 hottest prospects heading into Fighters Rep 17. I want to know in the comments section below who you guys think are your top 10 hottest prospects heading into Fighters Rep 17. Listen, if there's anyone I didn't mention, bring them up. There's a lot of names, right? Again, D'Angelo Gianni, but he's not going to be competing at the next Fighters Rep, so I didn't want to include him. Milshawn Lathan, also not going to be competing at the next Fighters Rep. He's, dealing with some medical issues, but he was 3-0 before taking this upcoming card off. And there's several other guys on the card, I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say, man. This Fighters Rep, again, one of the best ones, if not, I think it's the best card we've ever put together. Be sure to grab your tickets at FightersRep.com or the live stream at FightersRep.com. Now, I want to say one more thing, right? We've also got absolute killers like Will the Thrill Acosta, Christian Tobias on the card, and they're fighting each other. And these guys have also built almost the entirety of their career at Fighters Rep. They've never been in a boring fight. They're both incredible to watch. We've also got Ruben Muro, right? Ruben Muro taking on Manuel Garcia. Both of them coming off their first fight with Fighters Rep. Muro getting a finish in his first, in his debut with Fighters Rep, and Manny getting a hard fought win in an absolute war over Trevor Blakesley. I mean, that's saying something. So those two are going to be fighting each other. I mean, we're going to have to, we're going to have some paramedics on hand on February 18th, Knuckleheads, because this is just crazy. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share with your friends, ask people who they think are the top 10 hottest prospects at Fighters Rep, and be sure to subscribe. We'll talk soon. Appreciate you guys.